I bought this server for £50 off eBay. Will it even power on? Can I take this classic ML350 and bring it back to its original glory?
Right, let's get this unboxed.
Back in 2004, I was installing an ML350, probably one a month. I was 30 then, and the operating system of choice was Windows 2003, a small business server. These servers were the backbone of small businesses across Britain. Recently, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great to see if I could bring one of those old boxes back to its glorious life? I used to really love the challenge of getting the operating system installed and configuring all the applications and then adding all the additional hardware such as tape drives. IT wasn't really based in the cloud back then. It was very much a hands-on process. So I started this channel on the basis of doing some rebuilds of some classic servers. And one we're going to start with is the HP ML350.
Okay, the server's unboxed and she's not in great condition, as you can see. Clearly loads of stuff on the side there. God knows what's been on top. There's an IP address from where the server was probably in use, and also half of the label for the operating system that was once of it. Coming around to the back here, we can still see a little bit interesting. Actually, the label here we've got, which is still containing, yes, the ILO settings are still on the label. That was a funny thing. People used to leave that on. You were supposed to take it off, but there you go. People left that on the server. Come around to the front where the bezel is, and we can see here again, yeah, we can see where people have left IP addresses that were on the front of the unit. There's the DDS tape drive, and can we open the front? Yes, we can open the front. We've got 3 discs in here as well, so let's have a look and see what we've got. 72 gigabyte Ultra 320 SCSI drives, and we've got 3 of them, so that's good. I can utilize those. We can have a couple of different sorts of RAID array with that. I say floppy disk drive, CD drive, or maybe I think CD drive, just compact disc, and then a DAT 72 up here on the top there. Yeah, a DAT 72 drive as well. I think the next thing with this then is to take the side off and see what we've got inside. I tell you what, this thing is crazy heavy. I'd forgotten how heavy these servers are. This isn't even full of discs, and it's super, super heavy. When I move it now, that is no joke. Servers were so heavy back in the day, you don't even notice it now. Recently, I might have picked like a 1U server, which is sort of about that thin. This thing is super heavy. These jobs were done with 1-2 people when we used to put them into racks and cabinets, because you couldn't do this by yourself. But sometimes as an engineer, you were sent out on site on your own and you had to do, maybe get this out to get the side off. It was really hard work. I tell you, these things weigh many, many kilograms. They're heavy stuff. Anyway, next thing is let's get the server down on the side here, get the side off it, have a look inside and see what we've got, what we haven't got, and how close we're going to be to booting this server up before the end of this video.
Right, let's get the side taken off this and have a look and see what we've got. Okay, what have we got to start with? Well, one thing I can notice, and we can see here, I'm going to move the camera in and over on this one, is that we have got a CPU heatsink that's come off the CPU. It doesn't even look like it's ever had any thermal paste on it, which you're always supposed to put on. Put thermal paste on because it sticks to the heatsink and makes for good cooling. So that's fell off the CPU as far as I can see here. However, what we have got that is good news, and I'll sort of bring this down and sort of move the server over there. It's a little bit better. We've got a CPU here. Down here we have a CPU, and I can't quite tell what that one is yet. We'll get that out in a bit and see what the specification is. But that's good. That means we don't have to buy a CPU. Good start. But we've got no memory, none whatsoever here. 6 banks for RAM, and we don't have any RAM, so that's all been taken out. That means we might be able to get a post, we might be able to get it to boot today, but it's not going to do anything because it's got no memory in it, and it may not even post because it hasn't got the memory in it. I can't quite remember whether it will display or not display when there's no RAM in the unit. Back here, over here, we've got a additional SCSI card. That is a controller card for the hard drive bays for the server. Now, so the tape drive runs off one bus, as it's called, one cable. and the hard drives run off another bus on a dedicated card, which meant it could produce RAID arrays, which I'll explain later on, which are configurations of disks for redundancy in case one disk fails. Okay, I think the next thing I will do is go and have a look at the front, and we'll actually get one of these hard disks out and have a look at it.
Right, this is the front of the chassis open, and these are the hard disks here. You can release these from the cabinet by pressing that button there, and then that releases this lever, which you open out. That hinges there and actually pulls out the connection at the back that fits into the board. And then you can release the disc as so. And here we have the disc in question. We've got here 72.8 gigabytes, 10,000 RPM, that's 10,000 revolutions per minute of the hard disk itself, because this is an old traditional mechanical hard disk that's magnetic, so it spins around inside. And we've got 3 of these inside here. These were the standard that came with the server, so this disk is looking at being a good 22 years old. We shall see whether these disks still work when we get the server up and booted. Get this back into place. Very simple process. It's the reverse of taking it out. You can slide that in. This chassis is a little stiff because it's a bit dusty. You get to the end where you get the connection on that side, and then click that back into place, and the disc is in place.
It's nearly time to go and boot the server. It's finally time to find out, is this server gonna work and can we do something with it? But before we do, I would super appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. It's brand new. I'm going to do more videos. I've not done this before, and it would mean loads to me if you gave it a like and you gave it a subscription right now at the start, because that'll help the algorithm promote the channel a bit more, and we can see some more interesting videos and stuff. Right, let's get over there and get this done.
Before we start, I'm going to put the CPU into place. So what I've done is I've opened up the 2 arms here and here that enable me to place the sync onto the CPU. I'm now going to place the sync onto the CPU. That goes in place like that. Then these clips come back down and clip underneath on either side of the CPU. There we go. Now that's in place, meaning that even though we've got no thermal paste, we're not going to overheat the CPU when we put some electrical power through the server. This is the monitor we're going to use for connecting to the server. And here you can see we have a VGA port. That's commonly now not seen on a monitor any longer. You would have HDMI. So I've picked up here a classic VGA cable for this purpose. And the VGA cable, as we'll see here, is male to male. Here are the pins, male to male. I don't think I need to tell you why these are seen as male, and that's a female socket. And we're going to use this to connect to the back of the server and replicate the kind of monitor setup that was, again, around at the time this server was being put out, 2004, 2005. Okay, we're really close to booting up now. VGA connected, and below we have the keyboard using USB. And in the field, I would often use this kind of keyboard, which you can see it's a roll-up keyboard, which you can take with you in your bag, which was really handy to use. I'm just using that at the moment. And old school mouse. That has to come around to the front and use a USB port, because these servers were, USB was out there at this point, but there wasn't too many USB points on the back. So I've had to use one on the front for the mouse and one at the rear for the keyboard. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Let's get the power cable and put that into the back of the server. Pretty noisy, eh, when one of these comes on and all the fan tests go through. Okay, so we have a red light on the front here, which I suspect is going to be the memory.
Troubleshooting lights on servers is a process of understanding what each set of lights means. There's no connector like there is on a modern car with an ODB connector, and then you use your mobile phone and look up the fault codes. It doesn't quite work like that back in 2004, but what they did provide, and we've got here on screen from HP, is the guide to the LED indicators. Now we can look here on the front panel and see that front panel number 2, internal health LED, was lit, and that was lit to red, and red is system critical and referred to the board LEDs. So what I will go and do in a moment is go over and refer to the board LEDs on the motherboard itself, which we've got here on the screen. You can see here it shows you all of the different types of lights that can be shown on the motherboard and what they mean. Some mean there's no main power, some means that fans failed. Other ones here might mean that there is no memory installed or the memory has failed. So the process now is to go over to the server, put the power back into it again, and have a look and see if we've got any of these warning lights on the motherboard.
It's not easy to show you, but right there, can you see the brown connector? That is the CPU fan connector. So I'm going to reconnect the CPU fan now. Okay, we have the CPU fan seated now, so let's put some power through it again. No warning light this time. And we've got green lights on the front, which is good news. Will we get anything on the screen though? Ah, no. We've got another fault again on the front. Can we see any fault lights inside? Nothing down there. Green. Can you see those lights in between the banks there of memory? That's what we need. We need some memory. And that's okay, because we know we need to order some memory for the server. In the next video, I'm going to get onto eBay, find the correct memory and get that ordered, and we're going to fit it to the server and see if it boots. We're also going to get out the cleaning stuff and get rid of all the dirt, the grime and the dust out of the server and make sure it's ready for installing an operating system. If you like the video today, then click the thumbs up and give it a like. Give me a subscribe, because that would mean loads to me, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye. I'm going to put Bill to some good use here while we have a look at the front of the drives and see what hard disk we've got in here. So if you'll help me there, Bill, thank you.